All right, welcome back to 35 All Grip. Got a guest on today, Clark Patrick. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just got done skating.
Yeah, you did. Appreciate you being here and taking time out of not skating to talk about skateboarding.
It's hard to fit other things, man.
Yeah, it is. And if you're on the streets, that's what's most important. So, before we get into things, I got a little intro for you, for the people at home that might not know who you are. So here goes. Clark Patrick has a unique approach to navigating life and skateboarding. You can certainly classify Clark as an all-terrain skater, tackling hills and skate parks on the same setup. He has a minimalist mindset, going full van lifer for a stint, while also making the journey to the hotbed of downhill destinations in the U.S. and abroad. Clark recently had a pro model board debut, which we'll get into a little later, and has also laid down some roots right here in North Carolina. So, Clark, how is living in a house? How is house life?
Maybe one of the best things that's ever happened to me. That I didn't know it was gonna be like that. Yeah. If you don't live in a house, you should try it. If you've been living in a van for a while, you should give the house thing a try. It's pretty good for your mental health, having like the same spot to go to all the time. Yeah.
Little more space.
Yeah, it's a tiny space, but a little more space. Yeah.
What was the reasoning to kind of take a break from the van?
Just getting burnout on it. Just like moving around enough that I was like, okay, I feel like I need the opposite now. Like I would want to like settle down and enjoy one space. And I constantly would come back here to Asheville to the point where I was like, I should just like get in a place there, I should move in somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, great place to relocate. I remember, Thunder. I remember the Magnolia House, skate house. I would see you there like...
Yeah.
You'd be there for like weeks, then you'd be gone, and then it's like you never left. You'd just be back.
Yeah. I would squat there for a pretty long time. Yeah, I'd show up and be like, I'll just be here for a week, and then a month goes by, and I'm like, dude, what? I basically live here.
I mean, super rad.
Yeah.
Had to do it. Well, glad you're in a house, a little more comfort, kind of tie you down a little bit more and everything. But before North Carolina, you're from Ohio.
I am.
Correct?
Yep. Central Ohio, Columbus. Same places as Rob Green and Michael Virgin.
Some people might call Ohio Central America.
True. Yeah, it is kind of like everything ties back to Ohio. No matter where you go, it doesn't matter. You're going to meet someone from Ohio.
Oh, yeah. Because everyone leaves.
Everyone leaves. Exactly. Yeah.
What was it like coming up in Ohio as far as, longboarding? What did that look like?
Now there's like nothing going on, but while growing up, it was a really interesting time. I was like slightly younger than the really large crew of longboarders there at the time. There was a lot of them. There was a group called Freshly Paved and a group called Dank House Media, something like that. And they were making a bunch of videos for like original skateboards that were getting like 1 million views, like in the boom, there's tons of skaters, and it was very like tech freeride oriented or like doing tricks on longboards. So I was like seeing all of these things get posted all the time. I was like living in my small town, like across Columbus on the other side. And it was like, do you know who Michael Virgin is? Do you remember those videos?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm like 12, 13 while those videos are coming out. And I'm like, oh, they're just right there. Like I couldn't go to them because I couldn't drive. So it was like a weird time of like being really close to this thriving scene, but not being able to like make it to them. So I did a bunch of skating by myself. And then once I could drive, like all of that was gone. So like Michael Virgin wasn't skating anymore. A bunch of people were moving out. Like Avery Wilcox wasn't coming around as much, or Perry Finley had moved away. Nico was the guy that did Freshly Paved. He like kind of stopped doing that. And so it was like, again, it was like just me. And so I did a lot of skating growing up alone. And yeah.
Just honing the skills, because you definitely have like the tech free ride stuff down. I was checking out, I don't want to skip ahead too much, but you got some vids on like Bustin' from like a while back.
I was pretty obsessed with that style of riding for a long time. No.
I mean, it's pretty sick. Like, when did you kind of start getting into sponsors? Was Bustin' your first board sponsor, or was there?
Original was.
Oh, really?
Original, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I made a sponsor tape when I was 11, and
Oh my God.
I know it was during that time though where there was a million 11-year-olds that were riding longboards, you know, and I made a sponsor tape, and I can't remember if it was when I was 11 or I turned 12. Lindsay from Original, she was in like the early like Pintail videos. It's like blonde chick that was in those videos, got like 10 million views. She emailed me back and was like, yeah, we want to put you on the flow team. And I was like headed to baseball practice. And that was the day that I was like, this is all I want to do. I was like, fuck baseball. I do not want to go to this practice. And I'm like telling my mom on the way there, I'm like, this lady Lindsay sponsored me today. And they're like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Like, you emailed this company?
You're like, kid, what are you doing? Are you talking to strangers on the internet?
Yeah, pretty much. But that was the time when if you were 11 and had a camera and made a video of you doing a tiger claw, you were in. It was way
Famous.
easier. Way easier.
It was definitely a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like all the companies were kind of definitely making more money. They had to be at that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was this around the same time you were modeling too, or when did you get into modeling?
I did that later in my life, like late high school.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was like 15, 16, 17, 18.
Who are you modeling for? We talking any notable brands, or what kind of modeling are we talking here?
I had like an agency, like New York Model Management, and I did some stuff that was in like a Prada shoot on like Vogue Japan. All this stuff is like really foggy to me. It was like a weird time. Like I got into it because my sibling's best friend was a model, and I didn't know what I was going to do after college, and I like saw it coming really quick, or after high school, and I saw that coming really quick the end of high school, and I was like, what am I going to do? I wanted to move to New York City, so I just like basically asked my sibling's friend Megan, like, how do I do this? And then she just hooked me up with like all these people, and then all of a sudden I was like living in New York doing these weird shoots where they wanted me to like bring my board, and I'd show up with like a longboard, and they're like, oh, we thought you were a skateboarder. So the whole thing just was like super weird, and I quickly did not like it, but like did it for like a couple of years and like made some money, and then just like abandoned it. I was like, dude.
Damn, you're doing shoots for Prada? Let's fucking go.
I guess, yeah. You just, put you in some crazy expensive stuff and take some really embarrassing photos of you, and then boom, you're in a Prada shoot.
I'm gonna have to try and dig up some pictures of you. I don't know how I'm gonna find
They're like
them,
as bad as they get, so
yeah.
like, I'm like past the embarrassment. Yeah. They're pretty freaking bad.
Oh
Go
my
ahead.
God.
Yeah.
Hey, getting a check though.
Yeah, enough to live in New York. And then when I stopped doing that, it was like, okay, now I have to leave New York like right now.
Are you ever gonna go back? You ever think of going back?
I like visiting. I'll never live there though.
Well, what
Again.
about modeling?
No.
No.
Maybe if it was like a friend's brand or something like that, you know, something that like I actually cared about. Dude, the people in that industry are weirder than you can even imagine. It's like what you'd expect and 10 times worse. It's pretty ugly.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget who told me that. And I mean, you're a good-looking man, so I was like, yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see Clark as a model. Is your real name Guy?
Yeah. Yep, it is.
Did I just totally?
No. No, that's a known thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Guy Clark Patrick.
Cool.
It's a family name.
Little fun fact I just totally ratted you out on that one.
No one ever remembers. I'll ask people all the time. I'm like, what's my first name? Everyone's just like Clark.
I think you did that to me, and I was like, is it Patrick, actually? Is it reverse? You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no.
No.
Dang, well, all right, so you're on original. They're like sending you boxes. What's the original vibe going like?
It's like super flow. They're sending me boards, but then if I ever would like ask for boards in between the boxes, they would like send me a discount code, that kind of thing. And this was like pre-Diamond Drop era, like the flat Apex 40s and Arbiters and free rides, and I'd ride all those. Yeah, and they were super interested in just like getting content, and then like sending you a couple boards a year, and I did that for like a little bit, and it was kind of cool. But I was like obsessed with wanting to travel. I was like this little kid, like I was like egging them on to like send me places, and they're just like, dude, what? You're like 14 at this point. You're like 13 still. Like, yeah, I was like, I want to be like Brian Bishop.
Bringing up some names I haven't heard in a while, too, by the way. When did kind of the original thing sort of taper off, and did that kind of lead into Bustin' immediately, or what was that? Where'd that kind of switch change for you?
Somehow I like got in contact with Jeff Fine, the Pantheon owner, and he was the board designer for Bustin' at the time. And he sent me the BGDK, the giant double kick thing, just on his own. And then he told me to like make a video, and I made a video, and then he showed it to, I'm guessing at the time he showed it to Ryan, the owner, and then they like started sending me boxes and everything. And once they had sent me the BGDK, I was like pretty dead set on just leaving original. I may have already done it, but I just like sent them an email and was like, I'm done riding original boards, and I just like quickly went to Bustin'. That was like at the time that Bustin' was like a huge name too, you know, like they had like the best pushers, they had a couple downhill dudes, like crazy freestyle guys. So I was like super stoked on them. I was like, yeah, I want to ride Bustin' boards. They
And
had
they're-
a Will Royce.
Yeah. And they're based out of New York.
They
too.
claim they are.
They claim they are.
Yeah, they're from Hagerstown, Maryland. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where the owner's from, and that's where like their warehouses have always been.
Okay.
But he went to school in New York and made his first boards while he was there. So they have like New York roots, but they were never really like fully stationed out of there. They just had like the longboard loft and the Brooklyn flagship store,
Gotcha.
and put the Statue of Liberty on everything they could.
Yeah, I remember those. They had the Maestro and the Boombox.
Boombox, Maestros.
What was your board? Like, what were you riding the most?
When I was on Bustin', I really was riding like different stuff, like almost every 3-4 weeks. Like every month I was riding some different Maestro, or like the Mechanic, the Boombox, the Ratmobiles. They had like 5 different versions of like everything, you know? And then the Shrike came out, and then that was like the board I rode for the next like 6 years, like straight, just that board.
That was
Shrike.
like the big. It was like it had like kicks on it.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a
flat kicks?
flat skateboard shaped thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But you
yeah.
could definitely do like some tech shit on it
It was super good for it. Yeah,
for sure.
especially at that time. Yeah, it was like the closest thing you could get to like a street, like a big double kick without it actually looking like a skateboard. Like it was still like a long board or whatever, like pretty flat kicks, and I like micro drops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So like you said, you were trying to get into traveling, and I know you went on a trip to Spain, right?
Yeah. With Bustin'. In 2015 or 16, something like that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I was checking out that video. Was it Melvin Herman
Yeah.
that filmed? Yeah. Pretty rad. Laying it down. Some pretty big early grab down like stair set kind of.
Yeah, I went to
Things going
film
on.
with Toady, and then I didn't know this. He was obsessed with downhill at this point. And before that, I didn't really know that he was like getting into downhill. He was like, you know, the freestyle street longboard dude. And when I went there, he was like so obsessed that he just like changed our plans to film in Madrid. And he's like, we're going to Alicante to do downhill, which I was like, okay. I didn't care. I was like, all right, sick. And then we went there, and that was like one of the first times I was like really exposed to like really good downhill right in front of me. Like I watched a bunch of videos and was like into it, but he was like doing crazy stand-up slides, and Will Steffen was there too. He was like studying abroad, and he joined us. And it was just like so above me, like the skill level, that I was like spotting corners and was like driving the car down. I was like, yo, guys, I'm going to die if I skate this stuff. But that like really triggered like wanting to get into downhill for me, watching him skate those roads.
Gotcha. So that was kind of like a turning point. Like
totally. Yeah.
What spots do you remember like in Alicante that were?
They have a bunch of neighborhoods that were like built up that weren't finished. They have like a handful of those. It felt like we were always going into some neighborhood that the bottom would have people living in it, and then like the further up you drove, there would be like less and less developed houses, and then it would just be like Chimney or Paradise kind of thing, where there's just like nothing up there. And yeah, it's kind of like a Malibu vibe where it's desert-esque and lots of like really rich people on like right on the beach kind of vibe.
Is that where Psycho Spot is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think it is. Yeah.
It's got like sections that are like concrete, like.
I think that is where that is. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered about that spot.
We skated the run that I think there's like a video of Ed skating it that has like some sort of water tower at the top, and there's nothing really along it, like no houses or anything. I don't have much else to describe it, but that's all I remember.
Yeah, I think there's some clips to add there, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
But that was definitely a spot that I've never skated that, you know, I remember coming up watching videos, like that area looks crazy. And then you just pull up to it.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
Yeah. I was like, thought we were going to be like pushing around the city in Madrid and stuff. And then I just get to watch him do like crazy stand-up slides.
I mean, Toady is...
But he's the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. Like, there's so many great freeriders these days. I was watching his video from Anaconda.
Mm-hmm. That one's so fun to watch.
That video is... It's aged well.
Yeah.
He's fucking killing it, dude. But, yeah. Shout out to Toady if he's still out there doing it.
I don't think he's doing downhill that much, but he was so good. It was crazy.
He was the shit. Yeah, was Spain kind of your first time going abroad for downhill?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Very nice. What kind of led up after that? Did you start to get the bug more to like travel and kind of explore?
The full like downhill bug hadn't set in yet. Like it was still like on my radar, but I wasn't like attracted to like traveling for that. Like I hadn't even moved to New York City yet. Like I moved there after that trip to Spain.
How old were you in Spain? What age were you? Sorry to cut
17.
you off. Oh my gosh, you're not even 18 yet.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
It was like my junior year of high school. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then after that, I was like into downhill, but I wasn't like trying to seek it out or anything like that. I moved to New York, still just doing a bunch of freestyle, tech slide stuff when I could. And then, it came like, the downhill like really came maybe 4 or 5 years ago when Rob told me that Royce lived down here. And he was like, let's go visit him. We came down here and skated. And I had skated like a bunch of stuff around, you know, in like Oregon and California and here in Spain. But that's when it like really kicked in, when I was like, okay, this is like what I want to do. Like, I don't even really want to go to the skate park that much anymore. Just want to skate hills.
Yeah, man. Get sideways. So when was like your first trip to NC then? Was it?
To skate was not that long ago. Late 2018 or like, no, it must have been like mid 2019 or something.
Okay,
like that.
no kidding. Right around that same time then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you stay with Royce when you came down the first time?
No, Rob and I stayed in Candler actually with a friend of mine that grew up in my hometown that went to Warren Wilson,
Oh wow.
and they had like moved to Candler after Warren Wilson.
No kidding.
Yeah, we just like drove down in my car and stayed there, and then I remember it like rained a bunch and people didn't want to skate, and of course like Royce came out and showed us some runs. I think like the first thing I rode may have been Horizon, and then the second thing I think was Flat Top.
Jesus.
Dude, we like went to yeah, we went to Horizon and then went and picked up David and Tyler, and I met them for the first time, and then went to Flat Top. And I was like, dude, I should not be on this road right now. But it went well somehow. I don't know. Like, I look back at that time and I'm like, dude, you should not have been skating these roads.
Ignorance is bliss.
In some ways, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely is.
You kind of just got to throw yourself into it and see if you make it out. And I mean, you've been nice with it on a board for a long time before that, anyways. So I think it was just
Thanks.
about, yeah, dude, you freaking rip. I think it was just like you being exposed to new roads is really all you needed.
Yeah. The corners here are like different, like different than anywhere else too. And that was probably like the most challenging part. I was like, these are like real corners. Like you really got to corner these corners.
These corners are cornering.
Yeah. Before that, I'm like, I've like skated tuna a handful of times, and those are some corners, but you can kind of like, you can almost like take it easier there in some ways. Like the corners aren't as like gnarly, it's not like such a significant hairpin that if you like mess it up, you're just going to like wash out to the other side of the road. I don't know. It felt different to me. I was like, this is difficult.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got to warm up to it, and the best way of learning is throwing yourself into it. So I got kind of maybe this would be a good time. I got a guest question.
Okay.
We kind of talked about some Ohio things, so before we move on, I got a guest question here from Rob Green. Here we go.
All right, Clarky, I got 3 questions for you. First, fuck, marry, kill, River Hill, Leather Lips, or Dorchester? Second, fuck, marry, kill, Byron, Mike Virgin, or Royce? Lastly, how'd it feel to take second place at the Narnia Push Race Best Trick Competition? Looking forward to hearing your cast, dude. Love you, proud of you, and everything you've done with skateboarding, man. Make Ohio proud.
Oh man, those are some good ones.
Do you know those roads he's mentioned?
Yeah, I think I know Dorchester as something else, but I think I know exactly what he's talking about.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and kill Dorchester just because I don't know him that well.
Okay.
And what was the other one? Was River Hill and Leather Lips.
Leather Lips. Interesting name.
And what is it? It's Mary.
Marry, fuck, kill.
I'm gonna fuck Leather Lips. That one's really dope. That's where like a bunch of Michael Virgin clips are at. And I'll marry River Hill just because that one is like just a staple. It's always gonna be there. These are Ohio spots that are like, dude, these are, I can't even describe to you what they are. Like they're pretty much flat. They're just like 200 feet long, and you can do like a slide. Yeah.
Hey, that's all you need, though.
It is all you need.
That's all
yeah.
you need.
There's some legendary stuff put down at these roads.
So, okay, we got that one. And then he said, fuck, marry, kill.
Byron, Michael Virgin, or Royce. I'm going to fuck Byron. And I'm probably going to marry Royce because he's got crazy connections and just a worldly dude, and he makes stuff happen. And I'm going to have to kill Michael Virgin, sadly.
I asked Rob for a guest question. He's like, I can only do questions in fuck, marry, kill format. I don't know how else.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, kind of killing it, dude. And what was the last one? How did it feel to get second?
I don't even... Oh, I do remember this, actually. This was at River Hill, and there was like a stint of slide jams that would happen around Columbus. and Rob and I would always meet each other at these. I don't know why we would like see each other at these events, and then just like not ever see each other in between, even though we were like living in the same area and did the same things. It's kind of weird. But I think I got second to him in best trick, and I have no idea what I would have done. But
Oh, Rob won.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this was a diss.
Maybe a little
Jeez.
bit. I can't imagine who else would have gone first. I think Rob got it. Yeah. It felt pretty good. I was stoked, Rob. It felt good to get second.
Yeah, I mean, you not seeing Rob skating is kind of how I feel with not seeing Rob skating these days. But,
Yeah, right.
I saw him at Elk the other day, so
He's supposed to go to Boone with us tomorrow, or I'm supposed to go with him to Boone. I guess he invited me.
maybe he's coming back. I don't know.
Yeah, I skated with him the other day, and he's riding a smaller board with like a split degree, and he looks like he hasn't taken a break at all. Like he looks great. Skating Town Mountain, doing big stand-up slides, and it's pretty impressed.
Got to get him back on the program. So,
Yeah.
Rob, keep going, bro.
Thanks for the questions, Rob.
Cool. Yeah, it's great to talk about Columbus. Are you familiar with the term FIFO?
Fucking idiot from Ohio.
Yeah.
Is that what it
And
is?
does
Yeah,
it offend
yeah.
you?
No, I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I should use that more, honestly.
I want to start using it more. I only get to use it like when I go to Soldiers. You know.
Yeah.
That's like, otherwise, you know. Have you been to Soldiers?
Yeah. Only
Okay.
one time. It was last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you were there last year.
Yeah.
They all melt together. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be competing this year? You going to go back?
If I make it, yeah, I will. Yeah.
Have you ever really done races, or has that not been
Not
something
really.
you're into?
No, I definitely have never really been into it, and the only ones I've done are like little small outlaw kind of things. The first one I did was in, dude, you were there. My first race ever. I was 15 or 16, and it was the one in Michigan.
Oh, GRDH.
Was it in Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The urban downhill.
I didn't know you were there until Cam just posted a photo or something, or he showed me a photo.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
like you two. Yeah.
It's like 9 years ago.
Yeah, Royce and Toady were there too.
Yeah, they got first and second.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That was my first legitimate race that I'd ever done, and I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, it was pretty cool though.
Yeah, y'all were there in the Buston van.
Mm-hmm. With Mike Dallas.
In Ohio. From Ohio. Or, Wait. Yeah.
Toady and Royce went on some race road trip where they went to a couple races, and then they picked up some other Bustin' skaters in New York, and then they picked me up in Ohio at a shop, and we did a shop demo trip where you show up and skate with locals, and one of the stops was Grand Rapids. Do you know Mike Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We crashed with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was... I mean, I think he might have been a part owner of Buston at some point. I don't
Something
really
like
know.
that. Yeah.
he's
At that
definitely
point, he
involved.
was the Midwest sales rep. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Where else did you go on that trip from Grand Rapids? Was it a Midwest thing only?
Yeah, there weren't a ton of stops, and I'm kind of blanking. I want to say we ended in Kansas City, Missouri,
Okay.
but I might be wrong about that. I feel like I was there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, is that where Burning Spider is? Do you know that skate shop?
I want to say yeah.
Yeah, I think Chase is familiar with them. I think we ended there. So we went from Ohio to Michigan, and then we just went down. And I can't really remember much in between Michigan and Kansas. I just went to a bunch of shops and pushed around with them. That was it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool experience to have, especially as a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're around some absolute legends of longboarding and downhill too. Mm-hmm. That's pretty rad.
Meeting Royce was interesting. Yeah. I knew him from the videos, but I didn't know I didn't know that he was a world traveler or anything. And then being in the van with him at that point, I was like, dude, this dude is sick. I want to do stuff like this. I just want to roam around and skate everywhere. So that was a pretty important inspiration for me at that moment.
Was this kind of maybe when you kind of started to get the inspiration for, I guess, for lack of words, like kind of like taking like a minimalist, like traveling approach so you can move around more?
I've never thought about it, but I bet that trip actually did impact me a lot because I brought this giant bag with me filled with stuff and was just like, didn't use any of it and was just like, had to. And I think I flew home from Kansas and was like, dude, this sucks. So that probably did have a big impact on me. I was like, I don't need all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know, especially when you're like kind of getting first into things, especially if you like, haven't been in a van with a bunch of skaters traveling around. But I do like your kind of minimalist approach. I know you kind of been branching out, like we said earlier, like you're living in a house now. But yeah, I kind of wanted to maybe talk a little bit about kind of living that life and like the pros and cons of navigating through life with
Yeah.
that mindset.
Yeah. Definitely living out of the van made it really apparent that just like having too much stuff or just a lot of stuff or having stuff that you don't really need makes life really hard. And I think like everyone kind of knows that, but it became like a routine thing for me where I would have to like get rid of a bunch of things. Either that being like boards, clothes, wheels, random things, but it just started to become like part of my daily practices was like only having the things that I really needed around me. So I did that so much. Like I got rid of so much stuff over and over. And then also once you get down to like not having much, you realize you're like, oh, I don't even need like this stuff. I only have like 10 items in my van right now and I don't even need like three of them. And feeling the weight like off your shoulders or how much easier your day to day is, like cleaning things and organizing stuff when you have less is like pretty convincing in my opinion to like be intentional with your items around you. And I think actually moving into the house it made it even better, because you can like really look at your stuff like right in front of you. In the van, like stuff gets like tucked away because you like are trying to fit it all into a small space. But now I have like 5 t-shirts and like 1 pair of pants. And I think I have
1 pair of underwear.
No, there's important things with minimalism that you don't want to skimp on certain things. Like actually recently I had to buy like a giant pack of socks because like you lose socks or whatever and I didn't have enough to begin with. So then all of a sudden I just had like 3 pairs of socks. I'm like, this is not sustainable.
There's nothing better than just a freshie pack of socks.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You're like, I'm fucking living right now.
Yeah. Just be a maximalist when it comes to socks.
Yeah.
Underwear, at least 7 pairs, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to go lower than that, probably. Then you start running into dicey territory, wearing underwear 10 times in a row.
Well, I do like that kind of vibe you have because we definitely live in a world where like consumerism is just like running rampant, and it's like you're always getting things thrown in your face like, oh, you should buy this, you need this. And to kind of take that approach and kind of live with just what you need kind of simplifies things. And I always thought that was rad about you,
Thanks.
And yeah, especially like what you're saying, like you have your stuff in a house and you're looking at all of it and you're like,
Yeah. It's challenging too. Like items like hold on to you and you hold on to them. And it's like a weird thing to like be faced with that challenge sometimes. And you're like, I know I don't need that extra camera or something like that, or I don't need to hold on to this, whatever it is, this shirt. I never wear it. And then for some reason it just like grabs you and you're like, but what if? Those what ifs are really weird to me.
yeah, I have a closet full of shirts I don't wear.
It's always the shirts, to be honest. Shirts hold like a weird sentimental value.
For me, it's all the skate event shirts.
Yeah.
I have like 20 of them, and I like don't even. A lot of them are like either I fell in and can't even really wear them out anymore. They're like too small, but I'm like, I can't give this up, man.
Yeah, those will do that. That's a tough one. Have you seen like Chase's blanket?
I did see the blanket. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool idea.
That's a really good use, I feel like. You know, turning your stuff into something you actually will use or enjoy, or it takes up less space, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to ask Ryder about minimalism too. I think he's taken it further than I have, for sure. Have you seen Ryder's room ever?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Did he like sleeping on the ground?
Yeah, he's got like he has a minimalist bed, like a Japanese bed. Yeah. Which I kind of would actually like that, because sleeping in the van, like I was always just on like a sleeping pad, and that's like an inch thick or whatever, and beds are messed up, man. When you go from like multiple years of sleeping on like a firm, thin mattress, like a sleeping pad or something, and you get in the bed, your lower back just like falls.
Oh,
It's
man.
yeah, but they're so comfy. You know?
They're so comfy. I mean, you got to get a firm mattress, though.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what I
Yeah.
got a firm
Yeah,
mattress.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely get used to sleeping on a bit harder surfaces.
Yeah.
You're also, to my knowledge, you don't drink alcohol.
No,
do you?
not anymore. No.
How long has that been going?
Like a year and some months.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe like a year and 3 months.
What was kind of the purpose behind or idea to do that? Or was it just something that was a natural thing you were going to do?
No, it definitely wasn't a natural thing, because I think it was like escalating in the other way of like drinking more. I really wanted to stop using nicotine, and that just like wasn't possible without like stopping drinking. And I also felt like I wasn't like, waking up and drinking or whatever, but I could already just see my habits with substances like translating into alcohol as well. Like when I started smoking cigarettes, it just like quickly evolved into, like just being a daily smoker. And I saw that with alcohol, and it had been developing, and I was like, all right, I might as well just like cut it all out, including weed too, because I was smoking a bunch of weed. And I just wanted to change things in my life, and it felt like that was a good place to start.
Big time. Especially if you're trying to not smoke cigarettes. The first thing you want to do when you drink is smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
It's like that saying, like, I only smoke when I drink. It's
Exactly,
like, well, I only
yeah.
drink when I smoke.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. I think David's still on that train too. I mean, save a hell of a lot of money
Definitely.
too.
Yeah.
That's a big one. But yeah, I commend you for that too.
Thanks.
Keep it going, or hey, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Especially being tied up in like the downhill lifestyle and realm. A lot of things revolve around drinking.
Yeah.
Especially at like skate events and stuff. It's
That became very apparent too. I'm not going to hide that wasn't an influence in some ways. I was a little afraid for some of my friends and stuff, and myself, which thankfully like none of us really are that bad, but it's enough to just be like, I should think about this.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I mean, I certainly put them back now and again, and especially when you have like the adrenaline ramped up from skating, even if you're at a sesh or at an event, it's just like them beers go down quick, and they're nice. Kind of takes the edge off things. Kind of sounds nice right now.
Yeah.
But
It always sounds nice.
but yeah, it can be hard to get away from. So, if you can keep it going, then more power to you, man.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Definitely was needed. And I don't know. I don't know if it'll be a forever thing. I don't really think about it that way, which I think helps, I think I'll probably enjoy drinking at some point in my life again.
Yeah. Do whatever feels right. Yeah, we haven't gotten into, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff to still get into still, but I wanted to kind of get into some of your film parts a little bit, or things that you've been involved in. You got some pretty sick videos from Bustin' back in the day. You got some Lanyard stuff we'll get into a little later, but you went to Columbia how many years ago was that? A couple years ago?
At least, yeah, it was like 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like in a pack run video. What's it called? I have it written down. Oh yeah, Cliffs of Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spud. It's on Spud's channel.
Yeah.
Just absolute mind-bending pack run, raw run.
Where there's like a little waterfall of water through like every corner.
Yes.
Yeah. That's like the classic thing there.
What were the vibes going into filming that? Because it's like 10 minutes plus of just the same road.
We were in a region that I'm probably gonna mess this up, so I think it's called San Rafael is a town or a region of some sort, and it was 3 hours away from Medellin, and we went there to skate these roads that all go down to a river, and they're all just like absurdly long, like that style of road for like 20 miles or something like that. There was like a bunch of roads that we did that I was just like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. And I can't remember which one it was out of those, but it was just one of those. And someone was supposed to film a run, and then they were like, why don't we just all do it? And then we just like dropped in and did it. And then I think it's like really early on in the video, like we're all like packed up together, not super close, but then there's just like a motorcycle passing a box truck going uphill while we're like going past them, and Royce like bumps me or like slings me forward or something like that. And yeah, and then like every corner just has like water in it. Yeah.
It's like dirt.
Yeah, there's like
Just,
dirt
like,
at one
straight up
point.
not
Yeah,
paved.
wow, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely super wild there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, y'all were certainly handling it though. I mean, there were some very hairy sections of that. I'll post a link somewhere in the show notes or something. But yeah, pretty wild. It was what you chased, Royce.
A Snyder. I think Granada's in it too. I think so. Yeah. Spud's filming.
Was that a Did you just drop in on that, or is that something y'all had already gone down?
Dude, I want to. That's one that we had never skated. I think
God.
Royce and JP's in the video too. I think JP and Royce knew it, and a Snyder, but like Chase and Mead had no idea. I don't think, but they were like, "Oh, it's like the rest of them," and it was. But yeah,
Y'all are gnarly. That shit was a little hairy.
I should not have been doing that shit at that point. Royce invited me on that trip. I was in California working, and he was like, dude, we should join us in Colombia. We're just like going to hang out and skate these really cool roads. And then it turned into this, well, to me, it turned into, I think I just didn't know that it was like a full on filming downhill trip and everything. And I was just like not ready for that. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. And I had no idea what it was like there. So that was a rude awakening, but it's definitely a paradise down there. Have you been there?
I have not. No, I'm a little
thought you had for
scared to
some
ever
reason.
go. It looks gnarly.
No, it's really similar, like skating in Puerto Rico, in my
Okay.
opinion. Yeah, I don't think it's gnarly unless you're like trying to put down some crazy run, and I think that's where like a lot of those, like where that stereotype comes from, is just like people that go there and have been skating high level, like wherever they're from, California or NC, and then they go there and they're like, whoa, this is like so many added factors to the gnarly roads. So if you're just like cruising and chilling, it's a good time. The locals too are very just gnarly. Like they skate fast all the time. So when you skate with them, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy to keep up with. Some of the best skaters I've ever witnessed, for sure.
Yeah, you said a Snyder. I mean, he's pretty top. in
Yeah, he's
book.
my favorite skater.
I
for
really
sure.
like
Yeah.
watching him. I haven't met him or anything, but super top tier. Who else did you say you were out there?
Granada.
Granada?
Yeah, I think he lives somewhere else now. He lives in like Argentina or something, but he was living there at the time, and him as well is there. He's just like crazy, like insanely good downhill skater, and he was riding a broken board the whole like 3 weeks that I was there. I didn't even realize until like one day I stepped on his board to like push at the skate park over to get some beers, and I stepped in the middle and it just touched the floor. and he's been like showing us down roads on this board, and he's just been standing on the trucks or like on the outer edges of the board so it doesn't just cave in.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Hopefully he's got a new board by now.
definitely. Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah.
Cool. So you were in Medellin? Is that how you say it?
I feel like it's like Medellin,
Or Medellin?
but like
I don't know.
Medellin. Yeah, I don't say Medellin, but
What was like your favorite run out there that you hit? What were you vibing with?
there's two that come to mind, and I do know the names. El Catedral, the Cathedral Road that there's like a bunch of runs on. That one's definitely one of my favorite ones because it's like right outside the city. It kind of feels like going to Elk, where you're like driving on Merriman, you're like around stuff, and then you just like kind of disappear into this mountain road. I liked it. I like that for that reason. Like you could finish the run and skate all the way down into like the city, and just like good turns. And then this other one called El Longbow. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And it just has like this famous right and then very like NC like left hairpin that just like a big waterfall hairpin. I think there's a video of Royce hurting his knee there on S1. He like falls and hits a curb against his knee, his leg, and I think he tore his knee. But those roads are really good. Palmas was an insane challenge for me.
I was gonna say that's the next thing I was gonna bring up, like,
Yeah.
because that's a road I've looked at. Like, you know, if I ever go to Colombia, I know I'm gonna be skating that road.
Yeah, you would like it. Now I would love it, but at that time I was pretty afraid of like faster grip runs where you kind of just like you know like don't really slide or it'll like ruin the speed. Like that kind of run scared me where you just like keep going faster and faster and faster into these corners that you don't know if you can grip them, but everyone says you can. And that freaked me out. And it was like raining at some points and they're like, it's fine. Now I get it more. I'm like, you can rage down that road pretty comfortably.
I mean, there's a bunch of traffic though too. Was the traffic freaking you out?
A little bit, but when you're there, it like you can feel it that it just works. You're not gonna like, you know, no one's coming up at you. You're just gonna like pass them, or maybe even get passed, which is kind of crazy, by like a person on a motorcycle. But once you're on the road, it doesn't feel weird. You feel like a car. You're just like going with it.
Someone mentioned that. I think Chase mentioned that to me. Like once you're in it, you're just kind of
You're not thinking about it that
you're
much.
just in the chaos. I mean that shit's wild. I heard that the pavement there is like grippier too.
Yeah, I was told they put rubber flakes in it, but like really ground up, like you can't see it. So then the motos have more grip in the rain, which seems true. I don't know if it really is the rubber, but it's grippier.
Gotcha. I mean, I guess it's got to help you skating downhill too if it's a little wet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, rain skating there is different than anywhere else I've ever been.
All right, Clark. So I haven't brought this up yet with anyone, but you know, we haven't talked about downhill superstitions. I don't know. Are you superstitious?
Yeah,
With
definitely.
stuff?
Yeah, in a couple ways.
I'm a little bit too myself. Or is there any that come to mind that you're like absolute, no questions asked, superstitious about?
Yeah, there's one like I related to skating and not skating. I don't like walking over or skating over handicap signs or like handicap spots.
Really?
Yeah. That one's always weirded me out. Like I just avoid it. Just like won't skate over it. That or the 3 bolts like this, which I feel like isn't really a downhill thing. It's like a street skating thing that I don't even know how it happened when I was like really little. I would just like always run out of bolts and like only have 6. And then you just use 6 instead of 8. And then it got to the point where I like won't put the 8 in the board.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like clapping pucks at the top of the hill?
That one feels powerful.
That one feels good.
Yeah. That one like, or when someone doesn't clap you or like they push off at elk or something and you're like, oh, I missed them. It like you think about it, you know, or at least I do. And I feel like a lot of people do. I feel like that one's pretty powerful.
I feel like if we're gonna clap, it has to be puck on puck. If someone like that doesn't have their glove on or something tries to, I'm like,
Yeah, I just had this
don't,
today.
don't even do that.
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
come at me with that bare hand.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work for me.
No, it's got to be puck on puck.
Like, yeah, that's a big one for me. But I can also like, if someone doesn't clap me, I'm not like, I'm still gonna drop.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that one's tough for me. See how superstitious about. See, I have podcast superstitions now
About it not working.
about it not working.
I feel like there's more. There's more superstitions.
I mean, there's like fresh helmet.
Yeah. I've never been one to like scuff my helmet or whatever it is.
That one for me, I'm like, I've never subscribed to that, but I also have been riding the same helmet for like a while.
Yeah. Is that more of like a full face or arrow lid kind of thing?
I think for me, it's like if you have a helmet that's really fancy, like has a sick paint job, like you might have it coming for you.
Right.
Like the universe might be like,
Yeah,
longboard universe might be like,
Yeah.
it'd be a shame.
So you might as well just scuff it on the ground real quick.
But that one, I mean, that one doesn't really do, I don't know. I can see why people do it, I think that's like in like the motorcycle realm too. I think they might do that.
Oh, really? Maybe that's where it comes from?
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually ever done it. I don't think I've ever scuffed a helmet. That one's doesn't freak me out.
Yeah, that one doesn't scare me. One that I've noticed, I never have worn white shoes. I normally don't wear white shoes, but like my last 2 pairs of skate shoes have been white just because they're like the cheapest shoe. I'm like, cool, these are $10 cheaper, whatever.
Yeah.
And for some reason, fresh shoes, fresh foot soles, it's like, I was calculating this last year. I'm like, dude, why did I just fall twice today? Like, and just tore my shoes up. And I'm like, I kind of have a fresh shoe
Superstition
now. Yeah. So
Just leave them when I was younger, I would leave the shoes in the box and then like jump on the box and beat them up with my board to break them in.
oh
Yeah. I
okay.
learned that from some like street skating thing, and it works pretty good. Like when you get on a board and your new shoe is very like brick feeling, like you can't feel anything. It wouldn't help with that. Yeah, like break them in without scuffing them up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. Tricks and tips. I like that one. Yeah, I think I got a couple more guest questions here. I'm not sure if this is the best time, but what better time than the present? So
Okay.
I got a guest question from Lucas. Here we go.
Hey, this is Lucas tuning in on Clark's podcast. First off, I just want to say congratulations on the Pro Model, man. You deserve it. Second off, being one of the most creative people I know on the board, always doing some sick, out-of-the-box side hit. Who were your biggest inspirations when you're getting into longboarding, downhill longboarding? Like, who were the people you were always clicking on videos of and rewatching day by day? Who did you want to model your steez after, I guess? And second off, you visited a ton of spots. You've skated a bunch of awesome roads all over the country and, internationally. But where's next on the list of your personal list? I know you've always talked about wanting to find a spot that has just stacked Zons. And I want you to let us know where you think that is. Yeah.
Okay, what was the first one?
Thoughts?
Inspirations?
Yeah, it was a bit of a long one. Yeah, I think it was inspirations and like what videos you were watching.
I was thoroughly addicted to Parapro's videos. Mm-hmm. You familiar? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely was watching other stuff before, like a lot of original videos and loaded things, were on my radar. But then once I started consuming Parapro videos, I was like just obsessed with the trifecta of Bruno, Toti, and Alberto. And that was like definitely like hands down the most influential thing for me in skating. They're just like always traveling, skating weird boards in weird spots, and mixing downhill, street, freestyle. So yeah, my parents, like, my mom would tease me. She like knew the names of these videos by the music in them, and she would like be around the corner from like the family computer, and she'd be just like, "Oh, you're watching that New York Longboard 3 again, aren't you?" Like, she just like knew because I'd watch them on repeat, and then just like run out the door and like try to do these tricks.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, mom knows about it. She's like, yep. Clark's watching it again. That's so rad.
I'm sure my mom could have answered that question for me. She could have been like, "It's Parapro, Bruno, and Toady." Yeah, those were the dudes.
I mean, especially like up your alley, I can see the inspiration for sure with the way you skate and what you're into. So, yeah, absolutely. What else did he ask? He was
Where do I want to go?
yeah. Where are you going next?
I'm at a weird spot in life where I don't have like a huge craving to go like somewhere specific, which is like pretty weird for me. Like, I'm always like, oh, I want to go here or whatever. But I have a friend that is in India right now, and I've never had the pull to go to India until he's been like sending me these little towns. Because I've always thought of India as just like very congested, huge cities. But he's been visiting these like towns at the base of like the Himalayan mountains, and obviously I haven't been there. I don't know what they're really like. He does a little bit of downhill, so he kind of has an eye for it. They seem insanely cool, like really, really cool, some of these towns. So that's something I'd like to make it to. Japan's something I'd like to go to as well, but maybe more so for like other things other than skating, but skate while I'm there. Yeah, the Zahn question, I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. But I always say that my dream is like to live somewhere like Hawaii, but where the coast is just littered with Horizon Hill roads, where there's just like these little half-mile long roads that have like 5 hairpins in them that are absurdly steep, and I just want to ride a surf skate barefoot down these roads.
That's peak for you. That's
awesome.
awesome.
Peak for me. Yeah. You just like don't need a car. You just like go to these little crazy steep roads and just skate down to the beach. I don't know if it exists, so if anyone knows about that,
Yeah.
leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Yeah.
DM us your spots, as always.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned Hawaii. I mean, you were in what has been affectionately referred to as the mud.
The mud.
You were there for a while. Like, what was your experience there? And like, what were you eating? How were you surviving in Hawaii?
I ate pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we ate like primarily oatmeal with like, we would like make oatmeal in the morning and chop up an apple and then put peanut butter and jelly in the oatmeal, which is amazing if you haven't tried that.
Okay. Haven't tried that.
And when it was just Connor, David, and I, it was really easy to make like a ridiculous amount of food and then just be like super full. Like, we would wake up and like make so much oatmeal, eat like 6 cups each of this concoction, and then just be good until like dinner, when we would make again a ridiculous amount of rice and beans, and then just like eat until you couldn't eat anymore. And we did that a lot. And we would also like, go to the grocery store like every so days or a few days or a week and get like snacks and stuff. There's like a ton of rice and beans and oatmeal from what I remember. And like random food from strangers, which worked out like really well, like getting slices of pizza and like random things. There's also fruit on the side of the road. That was one of them.
What kind of fruit we talking?
Waipoli has banana lilikoi, which lilikoi is usually like I believe like a pretty roundish shape, and these ones are more banana shaped, like longer ovals, and they grow on a vine with like a pink flower, and you find them on the road up in the trees, and you can like throw things at them and they fall out, or like hit them with your board.
Wow, y'all were living, man. Getting a pizza slice from a stranger must have just been like like, oh my God, all I've eaten is oatmeal and
Yeah,
rice and
yeah,
beans,
yeah.
dude.
Every time we'd go down to like the little town of Kula or like to the actual like town of Kahului, it was like impossible to say no to like buying some crazy like a full pizza, like buying a pizza. That would happen really quickly. Like you see the Papa John's and you're like, all right, we're buying a large pizza right now.
Make me so hungry right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Whoa, Boba Sean's.
Somehow I gained weight on that trip.
Yeah?
And I was like afraid that I was going to like lose weight because we were like hiking a bunch and like skating an absurd amount. But I think we were like overcompensating because of that. We were like eating so many rice and beans.
I mean, oatmeal will hold you down too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got some protein in there, you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, y'all were living like, probably putting some muscle on too if you're hiking all the time. Was
Probably, yeah.
Were you primarily on polies? Like, were y'all branching out, or was it just?
We would spend like a good amount of time on Waipoli. Like we'd go like a week and then like go spend a couple days doing other things. Or like go see the local Anthony down like in the valley, and, like go to the skate parks. But yeah, there's like a couple stints of being up there for like at least a week at a time. My phone would die and I would just like put it away and like just forget about it because he just like didn't need it at all. Connor would charge his phone with like he would like leave his phone all day sitting in a grass field by itself, and we would just like hike like way up the mountain to go skate this road and just be sitting there with a little solar panel charger that would like barely charge his phone. And then at night we would like try to watch Surf's Up and get like 3 minutes into it and his phone would just die again for like 3 days.
Worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, who was like the weakest link, and then who was the strongest link? If you had to like,
wow. That's a tough question.
who was holding everyone together, and who was who would you vote off the island if you had to?
I think the weakest link voted themselves off the island, but it's not even his fault. Oh man, I feel so bad, but Spud had to go, man. But it's not his fault. He just had a bad incident where he wrecked skating, but he was driving his moped to get gas, I think it was, and then he had to switch to his board and he wrecked somehow and broke his collarbone pretty bad, like
Oh, God.
like fully snapped it, like it was like not even connected, and yeah, he just had to go. Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ouch.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on like Instagram. I was like, oof.
Dude, it was bad. It sucked. Yeah.
Who was holding it down though? Who was the leader?
I'd say like David, a combination of David and Connor. They're like the ones, they'd been there before. They had a vision. They called out the bullshit and did a lot of like planning when it came to like little adventures. Yeah, they definitely were the ones that held it down. And we did a lot of like dicey stuff, like sleeping on different beaches and whatever. And they always like had the confidence. They're like, no, it's fine. Like, it'll be fine there. So yeah, they definitely were the ones that really held it down.
Yeah, I know David had been out there probably at least a few times. Maybe Connor too. I'm not sure, but yeah, when y'all went out there, it was like, I think Marcella said it in her episode. She's like, that trip is not for beginners.
Yeah.
I was like, I probably would have been the weakest. I probably would have gotten voted off.
Nah, you would have been vibing.
Like, I gotta get out of here.
No.
I'm so stinky.
No. It was funny to watch how different people adapted to it. Like Sean, what's his last name? Wilkinson? Sean from San Francisco? Maybe. He's visited here before, but he adapted in this way of just like becoming the mud. He wasn't one with the mud. He was the mud. He just like, he was the dirtiest. He would just be like laying in the wet mud on we would like go rain skating and everyone else is like trying to kind of like keep themselves clean or whatever, because it's like a balance, like you only have a tent and like one sleeping bag and one pair of shoes, and he would just like dive straight in. He just like, and it worked. it worked. It was incredible to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't beat the mud, join the mud.
Just be the mud.
Or become the mud. That's
Be
like
muddier than the mud.
that's the final
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, any other notable it seemed like there was like a rotating crew of people coming through from all over.
Yeah, it started off with Connor and David were just there alone. And then I met them, and it was just us for not that long, like a week, maybe almost 2 weeks. I could be totally wrong about this stuff. But then Lucas came out, and, you know,
I forgot.
dude,
Lucas
yeah,
came
that
out
was the
there.
coolest.
That must have changed him forever.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, I didn't really know Lucas that well. And in my head, he was like the super Grom. You know, he had like just started skating with us relatively, and like skating in general. And he just like came out, and his dad, Fred, texted David and I and was just like, I don't care about drugs or drinking or smoking. Just feed him. And I was like, oh, this kid's going to be great.
10-4, Dad.
Yeah. And then we were going to just like stay up at Waipouli when he came, but we rented a car from Anthony, which shout out Anthony and Clint, his dad. They made the whole thing possible. They were like, they were like the strongest link behind the scenes, you know, like they weren't up in the mud, but anytime there's a big storm or something, or we really needed something, they were always down in the town, and we could go stay in their garage or whatever and retreat there. But we rented their car and just like rampaged around the island with Lucas. And that was probably one of the most that was like the highlight of the trip, probably, was doing all that. Skated like all the different runs. Yeah. And then a bunch of other people came in.
Yeah, I mean, the Australians were out there, right?
Dude, there's
Some
like one
Aussies?
point when there was like, it felt like 100 people were there, but it wasn't. It was like a bunch of people from Seattle, some LBDR dudes, Australians for sure. And they all came for this like event that it was pretty funny. It was like one corner of Waipouli, which has like so many hairpins, but they can't really hold an event because the road was shut off. So you couldn't like bring a shuttle or whatever. And they all showed up, and it just like pissed rain for like 2 days and was like really cruddy conditions. And this is where the mud comes from. It wasn't always like that muddy. It was like more like dirt, you know, it was like dry. But people were like coming down into the corner on those 2 days to like see us or hang out. And they just see all these tents that are like covered in mud on the sides from the rain splashing it. And they're like kind of falling over. And there's like a pile of like water gallon jugs and like 2 empty huge Folgers cans, and like just like it was like a scene, man. And people were like, oh, what the hell are you guys doing in here?
They're like, oh wait, those are our friends. Yeah, sounds like a kind of sketchy scene to be pulling up to.
They caught us at our worst. I really think so.
It wasn't always like this, guys.
It wasn't like this. No.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, I was just living vicariously back home, and yeah, that's cool y'all did that. I mean, that's a send. That's an absolute send. Mm-hmm. So, how long were you out there for, like all together?
3 months to the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I did like various things. Like I went to Oahu at one point and was like in this homie Will's house. Wasn't in the mud on Oahu.
Whoa.
Then went back to the mud. Going back.
How do you go back after? Jeez.
I was pretty ready for it. Oahu's like a bustling place. It was gnarly going there from Maui. I was like, whoa, this is too much. It's like LA.
No kidding. I haven't been out there yet. That's on the list of places to get. But yeah, man. Where else? I wanted to bring up a couple other places you've been to. How does like I mean, I don't want to compare them, but like you've been out to Vancouver as well. You've been out there more than once?
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
No kidding. I mean, what's the Vancouver scene like? You do Giant's Head, correct?
Yeah, I did it once when I was younger, in like 2000. 2017 or 2016 or something with Bustin', and it was really cool. I don't think I knew at that time how good of an event it was because I didn't have a lot to reflect on like, you know, camping situation and just like how the event was ran. And then this last time going last year, not the one that just happened, I was like, damn, this is like one of the best events, and the road is so fun. It is so fun. Giant's Head is definitely really sick. And Vancouver is probably one of the coolest skate cities that there is, you know, like with their public transit and just like urban landscape that's integrated into like these huge mountains, you know.
I've heard good things. Like I really,
It's pretty cool.
I need to get out there. You were on land yachts at that point too, right?
Yeah, last year, I went out there and like spent some time like filming and hanging out with the land yachts people before Giant's Head, and like got to like actually like really see Vancouver and everything. But I want to go back there. I've never been there in the winter, so I feel like I wouldn't really like it too much in the winter because it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Like kind of a downer of weather, but summertime Vancouver is definitely something to go do. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put that on the list. I wish I would have gone this year, but just wasn't in the cards.
I feel that. I didn't go either.
I'll come back.
Yeah.
Come back hopefully in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I got, you know what? I got another guest question. I might as well just throw this out here while we're riffing here.
All right.
Got one from Gabe. Here goes.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
All right, my question for Clark is, what board did you have a one-night stand with? As in, you really wanted to have it, and then you skated it once, and then you didn't want to skate it anymore.
Dang, that's a interesting question, Gabe.
Thoughts?
Getting into my relationships, man. Come on.
Yeah, a little personal.
That I didn't want to skate anymore. I know this has happened. I don't know if I can answer this.
A board you rode that you thought you liked, but then you didn't.
I don't know if I can answer that one. I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know if anything comes to mind. It's not really the answer to that question, but just street decks in general. I've had like many one night stands with them since I like have started skating. Like since I was a really little kid, I would all the time, you know, get on a friend's, have my own, ride them a couple times. I get the whole idea. I'm like, okay, it's the best thing for tricks and it's lightweight, whatever. But then I just like instantly go back to the longer boards. I just like can't do it. So many one night stands with street decks.
Just street decks in general.
Yeah. Way too short. I can't stand them at all. But I get it. I get why everyone wants them. But
I mean, I find that interesting because, I mean, you can skate the big boards like a street board, though. Which
I think that's why. I just used to the weight. Like when I get on a little one, it feels like trash. It feels really bad. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking in the intro about you're kind of a one board, one setup kind of guy. Have you always been that way from the start, or?
Like kind of. Yeah, kind of. I feel like longboarding in the past was like all the companies had such a variety of boards, or like all the lines were blurred. You know, like people who were into downhill were also into freestyle or LDP a little bit. So, like, I would just always be trying other things, but I always had that one that was like the one I was actually skating the majority of the time, you know. And but once the Bustin' Trike came out, that's when that really started to like I just started like not having other boards. Like it was just the only one, and because I realized I was like, I don't need to mess around with anything else. So, and then since then, that's kind of been like a staple in my quiver, is like just have that one that can do everything.
I mean, I love that. I mean, do you have you messed around with other pieces of gear? Like, I mean, you're riding what, Paris trucks
Yeah.
right now? Like, have you
ridden other things.
Ridden other things, really, or
Yeah. Like I rode surf rods when I was younger.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
I was like really young. I wasn't really doing anything on them, but
shout out surf rods.
yeah. Ray trucks. Do you remember
Oh,
Ray trucks?
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Ray
That's
trucks.
Michigan
Is it really?
brand, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I had a set of those. Those were
Jeez.
sick. Obviously, I've ridden like a bunch of other people's things. I rode like Rob's. I had some Gull Wings at some point, Chargers. But no, I've never really had like the Eras and like the Rogues or the, you know what I mean? Like I've never had any of that. So I don't know too much about all that. I never had Valkyries. Still don't all of them. They all feel great.
I mean, Paris are pretty all time.
It just works.
So-
That's why, yeah. They're like the independent truck of like RKPs for me.
Oh yeah, I mean I like that too. Like you skate all these gnarly hills on like just stock trucks. So I love that. I mean,
I'm afraid of messing with my bushings.
yeah. Don't.
I see what it does to people.
Don't mess with
Yeah.
the recipe.
Yeah. If it works, it works.
Yeah. Like there might be marginal gains. I don't know if you want to go and do all that though.
No. Stock pairs bushings are enough.
Yeah.
I've seen what it does to people when they start messing with bushings. All of a sudden they get like, I can't skate today. My bushings I just can't figure them out.
Bushing woes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of get into your pro model board here in a little bit, but before that, I just wanted to bring up the whole idea of being like having a pro model and being a pro longboarder.
Okay.
You know that
In what sense?
like what's how do you feel about the term? Like
It's meaningless. It's meaningless, especially in longboarding. I think in street skating, like that term means a lot more because they like it literally means something. It means that you start getting paid, and it means that you're gonna have boards with your names on it, with your name on it. In longboarding, I feel like I don't even know what it is really, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. I wish it was more legit, but I feel like in longboarding, it's more about how each person likes such a different board. In street skating, like when they come out with your board, it's like whatever random popsicle deck with your new graphic on it. There's not much of like designing a board going on. I think some people are like Andy Anderson and some people, but that's kind of like being a pro in longboarding is like now you have a board that really represents like your style because there's been so many different kinds. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like maybe the pro longboarding thing can be meaningless, but I think like if you have a pro model deck with a reputable brand, it does mean something. So I mean, if you're working with Landy, that's to me, I think that means something. But on the other, like on the flip side, there's a lot of like smaller brands. Like you could like make your own pro model if you have like a small company.
Totally.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So there's that too. But I mean, you've been like designing a board around what you've been going for, and what's like the design process been like as far as getting a board into production? Are you just kind of giving feedback and they send you things?
Yeah. It's been like fairly hands off other than prototyping. That's definitely like my main role. They have a couple people that work at the actual warehouse in Vancouver that have like CNC machines and no CAD and everything, and they can kind of cut out whatever you want. And that's kind of just how we did it. It was like they had a mold of some older board that was a double kick, and we just started playing with shapes and lengths and different things and widths. And yeah, I would just tell them like what to change, and then they would change it, and then they just started producing it. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And now we're gonna work on this one. I didn't have as much control over the concave as I would have liked, but it ended up being like I really like what it is. But on the next one, we're gonna make a new mold, and
Gotcha.
I believe that mold is made out of house, like at one of the factories, which this is made in Mexico. So they'll make a mold there based off what we tell them, and then they'll make some charges. They call them uncut boards.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, let's check that. Let's check out what the other side of this board looks like real quick while we're on the topic. Let's hold that up for the camera maybe so people can see it.
This one's a little beat up,
Okay.
but it's just like a double kick from the old days, you know?
Yeah.
It's like super similar or super simple,
Yeah,
and not too much going on.
Got Paris trucks, one of those 150s on there.
These are 165.
165. Okay.
Yeah. Powell Peralta snakes. And the trucks are 50 degrees. And I don't know what bushings are in here. Just the stock barrels, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
it's just
mean,
an asymmetrical double kick.
Yeah, man.
Like Sector 9 used to have, and like Arbor used to have, Bustin. You know?
It looks like a fun board. What wheelbase you're rocking?
It's
Do you know?
21.2
Okay.
or 21.5. I think it's 21.2. Yeah, with the RKPs on it. Yeah.
So you've skated pretty much everything on this board. For the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, this went to Puerto Rico with me. And this went to Maui earlier this year. And I've skated it everywhere else that I've been. This is like the first one I got with the graphic and everything on it. And I was like, I'm going to just skate this until it like literally falls apart. It's been through the rain and everything. It's just like a full wood board, and it's like blown my mind how strong it's been. I'm like, oh, damn, that's pretty nice.
That's rad, man. Well, very well deserved,
Thanks.
in my opinion. You know, it's cool to see some people get put on. Are you getting like royalties or anything? Or?
Yeah, I get royalties.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to cop one to put some
Put some money in my pocket.
money in your pocket. Yeah, if any of my friends get like a board with their name on it, I'm like, I got a cop.
Yeah.
So
I know. I have like, now there's like a backlog, dude. Like I need like a David, a Chase. Kenny's is out, I think.
know, yeah.
Kenny's is out.
Kenny's
Yeah.
is out.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely need a Chase board. I bought David's board.
Did you really?
Last year. Oh yeah.
You have one?
Yeah.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, I ride it elk sometimes. I got to get off the Evo.
I want an Evo. I'm gonna ask for an
I'm
Evo.
sure you could get
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, that's gonna be my elk board. Maybe my 151 board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. But yeah, Lineout's got some cool stuff. They've been doing it for a while, so yeah, you got to get a David board, man.
Yeah, they're too expensive. Sorry, David.
They are fucking expensive, but
Buy a used one.
yeah. Yeah, just to kind of change subjects a little bit. I know. Are you into climbing?
I
at
used
all?
to be. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't do it around here, but yeah, I used to rock climb a good bit.
Because you used to like
Yeah.
climb up cell phone towers to for work, correct? What were you doing up there?
Trying to make money so I could travel. Yeah. Replacing the radios. There's like these big boxes on the top. All the time, these wires and random things with the boxes get messed up, pulled out by birds, whatever, weather messes them up, and they routinely need service. So you just climb your ass up there on these like little pegs, and then you will like basically like sit in a harness with just like nothing underneath you for like 2 hours while you like unscrew this 100-pound box and then like bring it down a rope. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was a Craigslist job, and I only got it because I had experience with climbing, and I showed up and all the gear was the same. I like knew it all, and he was like, "Oh." He's like, I don't care what else you know. Like, just the fact that you know how to use a scree and, like, put this harness on and, like, how these devices work, you've got the job. And then I was like, all right.
I'm good on that.
I'm good on that,
Jeez.
too, dude.
Yeah, you're not doing it. You're not doing it no more?
Screw that job, man. Yeah. It's a gnarly job. You do it, like, rain or... well, you don't do it if it's thundering, but pretty much rain or shine, snowing, ice on the towers, like... Every day there was a new factor added on that was like, yo, fuck this. Like a fuck this factor.
I mean, it's a pretty important job, too. Like, people are like, don't have service if you don't.
Yeah.
That's pay all right? I hope you were getting paid.
Oh, it's
decent,
probably the
because-
best pay I'll ever get in my life.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much they'll pay you. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, on Craigslist too. Jeez, maybe I should start checking out
It was just
Craigslist for jobs.
A photo from the top of a tower of this like really pretty view, and was like need climbers. And then I like messaged this dude, and then like 72 hours later, I'm like in his truck driving 6 hours away to like service this tower.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember just being like, dude, what is going on? And I climbed the first tower, and it happened to be a tiny one. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is easy, man. And then, like, the next day, it was like the tower was covered in ice and, like, 9 times taller. And I was like, dude. Yeah. I don't recommend that job to anyone at all, actually.
Funded your endeavors, though,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I quit that job and came down here again. That was one of those stints. And I went, like, a while off some savings, just skating a ton.
I mean, that's the way to do it if you're willing to live that lifestyle, you know. But that's super rad. Yeah, I'm kind of glad you're not doing it either, because that's like sounds super dangerous.
I wonder what the
So-
long-term effects of being around the cell towers are as well. Like they like make animals act weird. You'll like see bees up there like doing weird things.
Really?
Yeah. It's definitely probably not good to be around those long term.
Probably not. Yeah, I only have a phone in my hand at all times.
Yeah.
so, it's
So,
probably
true.
fine though.
Yeah.
It's not doing
Yeah, that's a good
anything to my
point.
brain.
Yeah.
Speaking of phones, I mean, are you on social media right now, or kind of?
Kind of. I don't use Instagram at all, but once in a while, like people will message me on Facebook Messenger, and there's like a stories part to Facebook Messenger. It's not even Facebook, but it'll be like their Instagram story within the Messenger app. It's weird. And like every once in a while, I'll like click on that and like see what a Snyder's doing. That's like the one person I like ask Lucas. I'm like, show me a Snyder's Instagram. But no, I deleted Instagram. I don't use that at all. And I'll post some stuff on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, post some like shorts and stuff like that, or I'll watch YouTube videos. But yeah, just no Instagram.
What's your YouTube channel name?
It used to just be Clark Patrick, and then I couldn't get into that. It's Clark, GLARK 7562. It's like some
Okay,
computer generated thing.
I'll check that out. I'll put it in the notes if anyone wants to
Yeah, sure.
check-
Some good NC skating on there.
check your stuff out.
Yeah.
Cool. I might have dove into a little bit of it, but
I'm sure you're in there somewhere.
yeah, I'll put that up. Oh, sick.
Probably. Yeah. I'm just like I just like have a knack for like filming people whenever I get the chance, and then I just like look at my phone sometimes, and I have like a movie of like skating. I'm like, damn, here's another clip of Pat doing 100-foot toe side.
I don't know how it happens.
I should probably do something with this.
Cool, man. Yeah, YouTube. I've been not to talk about social media too much, but I've definitely been gravitating more towards YouTube and shorts, because I actually get to watch the things I want to watch, and like you can come back to it. Or rather, like Instagram or Facebook, it's like you see it and then you never see it again.
Right.
You're never gonna see it again.
You can't even really search it.
No, you're like, how do I find this?
Right. Yeah.
There's no title or anything, like keywords. You have to like just pray that you're gonna
Right.
find
You gotta like
it.
save it or whatever, you know. Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I can see shorts kind of. I've been warming up to it. I post everything I post on Instagram for 35 on shorts too, because I'm like, why not? But yeah, we'll have to check that out for sure. Yeah, I mean, it takes a brave man not to be on social media these days. It's kind
I
of
guess. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
super nice.
it's definitely not good for your brain. I mean, I'm just like
Exactly,
brain riding
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
But-
And I even still do that with like shorts and stuff. I'll find myself doom scrolling YouTube sometimes, but there's something pretty, I don't know if it's negative or positive, but there's just something to whatever Instagram is. You don't know. It's like, it's a bombardment to your brain, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it was like designed that way too. And
Yeah.
I definitely have to use it a lot. For,
Right.
You know, I mean, you have to if you want to promote,
Totally.
show people things. So, and yeah, trying to stay off it, but God, kind of get on situations sometimes where you're like, what just happened the last 45 minutes of my life?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Dude, I think we're helpless as humans, honestly.
Oh, we are. It's like instant
Yeah.
gratification too. It's
Yeah.
like close the app, open it back up. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. What just happened? That's the worst one. Yeah. You close Instagram and then you just open it back.
It's not good. It's not good.
No.
So, definitely like 35 all grip stuff on Instagram though. You should doom scroll that.
Yeah.
That's good for your brain.
At least 45 minutes of that.
Yeah, at least. Well, yeah, I mean, let's see. I don't know. I think we're kind of getting there. We kind of talked about your travel plans a little bit with Lucas. Do you have anything lined up this year that you're looking forward to, or
No, not really.
anything?
No, I feel like I'm slowing down a lot in life. Looking forward to not moving around as much. Actually saving up some money again. And just enjoying NC. It's really cool here.
Think you're gonna be here for a little bit, or
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
cool?
Yeah. I'm sure I'll take any opportunities that pop up, but I'm not really trying to create any scenarios right now where I go spend all my money. Yeah, I feel like there's enough here for
Yeah.
someone to be happy.
Absolutely. It's good to kind of maybe set some roots, see how it goes. And, you can always do whatever you want. You're an adventurous person too. So I'm sure you'll go where
There's a
life
lot to
takes
do
you.
around here.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
do. There's a lot to do outside of skating here that
Exactly,
you can
yeah,
get tied up in
yeah.
too. You get a bike yet?
No, that's coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you on a bike. This
Yeah.
is when all the listeners just press
Yeah.
stop. They're talking about bikes. Fuck these dudes.
No, I'm actually really stoked for that. Yeah, to get into biking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do, especially kind of parallels downhill skating. You're still on the road, so you don't feel like you're cheating on it too much.
Right.
So, yeah, you're out. You're living out in Candler nowadays.
Yeah, Pisgah Highway.
Yeah. I'll put the address. Put your address down for.
Yeah,
anyone
send
that-
Fred and I some mail.
That's amazing. Well, did you have any kind of shout outs or any words you'd like to kind of end on, or anything that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, I think surf skates are the future.
I love that hot take.
Yeah.
I've never ridden one.
I just have to put it out there because it's, in my mind, it really is the future. Like it's gonna happen.
It's
inevitably.
like that.
Yeah, they're a split board. Like the whole like little board for free riding, like with the weight and like the split trucks and short wheelbase. They don't realize that their final evolution is a surf skate.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you think,
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
is this kind of like maybe what you think the future is going to look like too? Like,
Yeah, I think there's gonna
Prediction?
eventually be like I think best case scenario, there's private like longboard tracks that are like a skate park that are narrower than, they're like golf cart path width, and they're steeper than like anything we've ever seen, and you couldn't even drive a car around the corners. Like they're like made for skating, they're not a road that's being skated. And I think they're going to be crazy technical, and you're going to need a tiny wheelbase, basically a surf skate, like a dead back truck, and then a front truck that's like 60 degrees and turns ridiculously sharp and really slidey wheels on it. This is the future.
man, am I really going to be on a surf skate one day?
You might be. Your kids might be on surf skates.
Oh my God.
Doing 300-foot toe sides through 360 loop hairpins.
I never thought I'd be on like a on a slalom board, and that happened pretty
Right. Mm-hmm.
quick. So, you know, I guess I'll just keep my eyes open. So,
I knew this the moment that I was doing a slide at Zon on the land yacht surf skate, and I looked down, and the front trucks were turned so hard that the front wheels were rolling forwards while I was completely sideways sliding. So only the back wheels were sliding, and the front wheels were sliding, but at such a low angle that I don't even know how to explain it. But you could you could directionally slide like in a way that you can't do on a board that we ride normally, or even like a race like slalom setup or whatever.
so you're already doing this.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'll have to take a rip on one. Sounds kind of terrifying, but I'm sure it's not.
No. It's not. They ride better than you think they would. They're literally a race board. They're just the future. The future race
Gosh,
board.
I love this take.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have to reflect on this down the road and be
Yeah.
like, dude, Clark was right.
You hear this, Rick?
Yeah.
It's documented now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I told Rick this and he laughed at me. No words, just laughed. I was like, you'll see, man.
Rick, hope you didn't put money down because
Set surf skates.
yeah.
You're
if
going to
you-
have to make them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get on that now because you got to corner the market. Yeah, did you want to? Do you have any thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah,
at
thank
all?
you for doing this. This is really cool. Thank you, everyone at Land Yachts, for this dope board. Thanks, everyone in NC, for skating with me all the time. It's been really nice. Shout out to Norm. I feel like he's just like an amazing addition to Asheville right now.
Oh yeah, shout out Norm.
Yeah, shout out to Norm and Norm not having a job, because Norm it can just skate all the time.
Yeah.
I just hit up Norm and he's like, yeah, I'm down to do that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for coming on too, man. I really appreciate you carving out some time to
Yeah.
come on and talk about longboards. And I know I pulled you away from paradise today,
No, that was my bad.
but
Sorry.
no, dude. Love to hear it. I'm like, oh, you're skating right now?
Yeah.
You keep doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll talk about longboards after. So, but yeah, appreciate you having you on, and everyone else listening out there. Appreciate you. All right, it's over and out. 35 all grip.